Welcome back to the channel. If you're trying to file taxes with your EIN, here are the steps you need to follow today, right now. Step number one, you need to understand what an EIN really is. The funny thing is, a lot of folks have no clear idea of what an EIN is. So an employer identification number, aka EIN, is like your social security number for your business. And the unique 9-digit EIN number allows the IRS to identify businesses for tax reporting purposes. Very important. And the IRS has specific established rules that determine when you need to apply for an EIN for your business. So if any of the following statements are true, you need to get an EIN. Please pay attention and take notes. This is really important because if you find yourself in any of these 4 categories and you don't have an EIN, you might get in trouble. So category number 1, your business has employees. If your business has employees, then you need to have an EIN. Your business is a partnership or a corporation. If your business is a partnership, corporation, and by corporation, I mean like, C Corp or S Corp for that matter, or a partnership, an LLC, you need to have an EIN. If your business files excise taxes, you need an EIN. And if your business withholds taxes for non-wage income paid to a non-resident alien, you also need to have an EIN. Okay. Now, an EIN, you don't have to be a business like a normal business. There are sole proprietorships that have EIN. It's totally possible. If you're a single member LLC, you can have an EIN, not a problem. Okay. If you're a multi-member LLC or partnership, also, if you're a corporation, also, even if you're a non-profit organization, you also can get an EIN from the IRS. I mean, non-profits are not required to file taxes, but again, the IRS just wants to make sure that they track everybody, which makes sense. If you're a trust or estate, you can also get an EIN. Okay. And you want to get a business EIN for a lot of reasons. For tax purposes, that's number 1. That's the main goal. But you also want to get it to open a business account. A lot of banks and credit unions, for that matter, they want you to have an EIN before they actually open your account. You can get a business credit card also with an EIN. Okay, we have covered EIN only business credit cards and loans and lines of credit on other shows, and you can get an EIN for free. Just go on the IRS website. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes in one sitting to get your EIN. Not a problem. Step number 2. Step number 1, you understand what an EIN really is. Very important. Step number 2, you need to determine your business tax status. Remember, we are trying to file taxes with our EIN. Okay. Now, what is your business tax status? What is your business structure? So when we talk about business structure, we're speaking about what? The legal organization of your business. Okay. So the thing is, are you an LLC? Are you a partnership? Are you a sole proprietorship? Are you a multi-member LLC? Are you a single member LLC? So your business tax status is closely linked to your business structure. There are 2 things though. There is a strong correlation between your business tax status and your business structure. Let me just break it down for you. So business legal structure is what I just said: LLC, partnerships, sole proprietorships, and whatnot. But your business tax status is basically the election you have made vis-a-vis the IRS in terms of how you would like to be taxed. Let me break it down for you. So you can be an LLC, for example, and you can choose to be taxed as a corporation, as a C corporation. You can be an S corporation and choose to be taxed as a C corporation. Okay. Now, by default, when you talk about, let me just give you the 4 types of business structures. You have sole proprietorship, you have partnership, you have LLC, limited liability company, and you have a corporation. Okay. And the thing is that when you think about, so those are the business structures. Now, for tax purposes, for example, if you are a sole proprietorship or a single member LLC, the IRS by default will classify you as you can file your individual taxes. In other words, you are basically filing 1040 with Schedule C. But if you are, let's say, you're an LLC, you're a multi-member LLC, you can elect to be taxed as an S Corp or a C Corp. Now, that election happens on another form, but the thing that's very important is that once you make that election, make sure that you file taxes based on the new tax election that you made. For example, if you are an LLC and you choose to be to be taxed as a corporation, as a C corporation, that means that you are going to file Form 1120, not 1120S, Form 1120, and you will need to actually pay your taxes at the business level. This is what we call double taxation. So normally, an LLC, an S corporation, a sole proprietorship, those are considered pass-through entities. In other words, you're not paying taxes at the business level, you are paying taxes at the personal level. But if you have the C corporation, this is the only corporate structure tax-wise that actually forces you to pay taxes twice. That's what experts call double taxation. You're paying taxes at the business level, but you're also paying taxes at the personal level. Step number 3, boss. You need to choose the appropriate form, okay? And the thing here, remember, we are trying to file taxes with EIN, and a sole proprietorship can also have an EIN, an LLC can have an EIN, a partnership can have an EIN, a corporation can have an EIN. So it's important for you to have a clear idea about the form that you need, okay? Now, let me break it down for you. If you are a sole proprietorship, you can have an EIN, of course, right? So you want to choose what? Form 1040 and Schedule C. That's all it is. You report your income, your business income, on a Schedule C, not on a Schedule K1. No, Schedule C. That's for sole proprietors. If you are, let's say, LLCs and S corps. Now, if you're an LLC, it goes a separate way. Now, one thing I need to say real quick. Don't forget. If you file a Schedule C for your business, for your sole proprietorship, you will also likely need to file a Schedule SC. That's self-employment. SE stand for self-employment taxes, okay? So being self-employed means what? That you don't have an employer withholding money from your paycheck to cover Social Security and Medicare taxes. Therefore, what happens? You have to pay them yourself, okay? If your sole proprietorship or a single member LLC earns more than $400 of net profit, you will need to fill out this form in addition to Schedule C. So it's really important. The threshold we have here is $400. If you make less than that, the IRS doesn't really care. I mean, that's not, it's really peanuts. So they don't really care about the income, the taxes on that income. But anything above $400 will trigger some automatic filing of Schedule SE. Very important. So sole proprietorship, I want you to think about 1040 Schedule C. Very clear, okay? Now, what if you have LLC? If you have an LLC, you will need to file something called a 1065. It depends, though. If you have an LLC and you elect to be taxed as a partnership, what will happen here is that you will file Form 1065. Form 1065 it's basically an informational return. You're telling the IRS, listen, this is how much my business made, okay? But you have to file something called Form 1065 and Schedule K1. You send Schedule K1 to all the members of the LLC. If you have an S corporation, you have to file something called 1120S. 1120S, that's the form, but you also have to have Schedule K1 also, okay? Now, if you are a corporation, a C corporation, then you have to only file Form 1120 with also the Schedule K1. But those Schedule K1s, the Schedules K1 are different whether you were speaking about Form 1065, Form 1120S, or Form 1120. Step number 4. The thing here is that if you're trying to file taxes with EIN, it's really important to always indicate your EIN on all tax correspondence. See, the thing is, you're trying to identify your business because your EIN is the indicator for your business, right? It's like your Social Security number, right? I mean, if you're an individual, anytime you file taxes on your 1040 and what have you, you have to put your social. You do the same thing for your business forms. It's very important so that the IRS can actually identify your business and really sort of allocate the right data to your business. This is important. You don't want to trigger any audit, any information request letters. No, this is just a waste of time. You want none of that. Okay. So what you want to do is when we talk about indicating your EIN on all tax correspondence, what do we mean exactly? Well, you want to put your EIN on all your initial filing of tax forms. I'm speaking about your 1040. If you're a sole proprietorship or single member LLC, you want to put things on your Form 1065, 1120, 1120S. Okay, this is important. And what really happens here is that your EIN is not just, you don't mention your EIN not only on the initial forms, also if there is any amendments, let's say something happens and you want to ask for an extension, right? You want to have more time to file your business taxes. What do you do then? Always make sure that you always put the EIN so that the IRS can trace all your data in a single database. The thing is, the IRS, you know what? The thing is, they do actually have a database. They have an algorithm that allows them to actually cross-check all information submitted to them, to the agency, and they'll actually consolidate all information by EIN. That's why the EIN is so important. It's not just because that you are trying to inform the IRS about your business transactions. Is also for internal data processing and data gathering purposes. So the IRS has a clear idea how to locate your business. And if you have audit letters from the IRS, make sure that when you respond to the agency, you put your EIN. If the IRS has a request of additional information, please make sure when you reply to them, make sure you have your EIN. If there are changes to corporate structure, you are going from LLC to C Corp or back and forth to S Corp back and forth, make sure that you always include your EIN. If there are changes in the company's tax representative, if you have a CPA or EA or someone or a tax attorney who represents you vis-a-vis the agency, if there has been changes, you always want to make sure that you include your EIN. Very critical. Step number 5. One thing you want to do here is that, remember, you need to keep in mind that only C corporations ultimately file taxes with EIN. I said this before, but let me break it down for you again. See, when we talk about business taxes in general, there are two things I want you to remember. Two very important things. You have in one category, we have companies that pay taxes on their business income on the business form, and in that category, you only have the C Corp. In the second category, you have those pass-through entities. In other words, those companies that don't pay taxes on the business forms. When you file the form with the IRS, they don't pay any tax. You pay taxes at the personal level. That's why we talk about what? Information return. So 1065, Form 1065 is an information return. Form 1120S is an information return. Form 1120 is an information return. Okay, so those are the three categories of forms that are information returns. Now, when you file those forms, you have to also attach the corresponding Schedules K1. Schedules K1 does what? It allows the IRS to know exactly how the profits and losses are divided or subdivided so that the IRS can cross-check the data you sent to them with the IRS that the individual taxpayers has sent to the agency. Very important, okay? So it's all about reconciling data. It's all about having a clear idea of what's really happening here. So, but one thing I want you to really to remember is that if you are filing, let's say you are filing business taxes with EIN, only a C corporation, only if you have a C corporation right now, only on that form must you pay whatever tax liability the IRS is showing you. And only on that form can you receive a refund. So if you can pay, then you can also receive a refund. So what does that mean? It means by extension that if you are filing Form 1065, filing Form 1120S, on those forms, or you're filing Form 1120S and 1065, you can never get a refund through that form. You get a refund at the personal level, okay? Again, because those are pass-through entities. So this is really important. So when you sit down this year, when you sit down and you are trying to do your taxes, do not expect any refund if you are in the category of S Corp, of single member LLC, or LLC in general. So sole proprietorship, single member LLC, or S corporation. Okay, so this is really important to really have a clear idea. You only get a refund if you are a C corporation. Step number 6. If we were thinking about filing taxes with EIN, please file an extension if necessary. See, the thing is stuff happens, right? You are busy, you are running a lot of stuff, you have no idea, you have no time to actually sit down and say, listen, I'm going to file my taxes. One thing for sure though, this, we are giving you general information, okay? Very important. But if you, let's say you want to file your taxes and you have no time, or you have no idea what I'm speaking about, you just came here to start educating yourself, please, you want to hire an expert. You want to hire a CPA, a certified public accountant. You want to hire an enrolled agent. You can hire also a tax attorney. Anybody with expertise when it comes to business taxes, that person can help you out. Because the last thing you want is to start filing taxes when you have no idea what to put where and when, okay? And the last thing you want is the IRS to contact you for quote unquote more information. You don't want that. So what you do is you want to file a business tax extension. Talk to your tax expert to file a business tax extension if you need more help. Okay, if you need more time, if you need more time to complete your business tax return this year, you can request an extension of time. However, remember, even with an extension, you need to estimate how much you owe, if you owe, and sending that amount by the due date. Okay, very important. So most business tax returns can be extended by filing form 7004. The official name of the form is actually the automatic extension of time to file by the original due date. Now, the due date for corporations is actually April 15th. So when we talk about corporations, there are two corporations. There are two types of corporations. So if you are an S corporation, the due date is the 15th day of the third month after the end of your tax year. So if your tax year ends on December 31st, then it will be March 15th. Very important. If the business is a C corporation, then the extension is due by the 15th day of the fourth month after the end of the tax year. So if your tax year ends December 31st, that will be April 15th. Very important to have that, to have a clear idea. So please think about filing an extension if you need more help. Okay, very important. Now for partnerships, and for individuals, for sole proprietorships, the deadline is April 15th also. Now, I want to go back to what I just said, and I really want to drill a little deeper here. Please seek professional help. Really, it's important. You might think, well, my business is not complex, or I don't need. Hey, it's better to pay someone $100, because that $100 you're paying, you can actually write it off. It's considered a business expense anyway. It's a lot better, it's a lot wiser to pay someone who has expertise in the minutiae of accounting and tax preparation than to try to do things yourself. Unless you're a single member LLC or you're a sole proprietorship and you have, let's say, a very easy business, very simple business operation, you will need to have help. You'll need some help. So if you have a simple operation, do it yourself. I mean, it's very easy. You just have to put your business expenses and income on your Schedule C. Okay. First category, you have your business income. Second category, you have your expenses. If you subtract your income, if you subtract your expenses from your income, you have your net profit. You just transfer that amount onto your Form 1040, and voila, you have it. It's very easy. When we have a simple business structure, is very easy. But when you have a quote unquote a complex business tax structure, or business operational structure for that matter, then you will need to have somebody with expertise. Now, you can have a tax accountant in-house. Yeah, if you have the resources, or you can even outsource the whole operation. In other words, instead of hiring someone just for tax preparation, you can have an agency or someone who does accounting for you every now and then. The whole thing is you want to evaluate whether or not you need professional help. Okay, finding a tax preparer for your one-person business is not really, it shouldn't be that complicated. Go to Google. Okay, you can actually find somebody locally. You can also use Google My Business. Okay, or talk to your friends and family. Ask for referrals. That way, it's just a lot easier that you have somebody who actually has experience. But please, you want to vet the credentials. When somebody says they're a CPA, make sure they are indeed a CPA. In other words, you want to check whether or not their license is still active, okay? Or if they have had some issues with their license, okay? If somebody says they're an enrolled agent, make sure that you check that also. The IRS maintains a database of enrolled agents across the country. Very important. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was talking to you about how to file taxes with an EIN. So step number 1, understand what an EIN really is. Step number 2, determine your business tax status. Number 3, choose the appropriate form. Number 4, indicate your EIN on all tax correspondence. Number 5, remember that only C corporations ultimately file taxes. Number 6, file an extension if necessary. And number 7, seek professional help. Very critical. Thank you so much for your attention. God bless you. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.